my party. We're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare star.
Good morning. Everything is exploding. I got to go figure it out. Not exactly sure what's happening. If you guys give me a sound check, give me a 5x5 or something, it'd be greatly appreciated. I do not know what's happening. Let's see here. We're gonna go. Everything is on. Everything is on. That's the problem. Oh my God. I do not know what. There we go. There was a massive delay on all of the different platforms between. I normally have about a 3 to 5 second delay between the platforms. There was a massive delay, so they all decided to turn on at different times. So yeah, that's always funny. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Welcome to my party. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and right now, looks like YouTube is winning 18-8, but we shall see what the day brings. In the chat, actually no. Let's go ahead and do the the good mornings. Jordan O'Neill first, Cool Colt number 2, and Rose, my favorite Rose, is deterred, followed by Bob Pita. Where we got Cool Colt, we got Bob Pita, we got Light Raider. We got Bradley checking in. We got Catitude in the house. Catitude, hopefully you got my message this morning. We're just waiting for that those donations to process. Let's see here. We got Saul. We got Preston. Let's see here. And then all the 5x5s are rolling in, which is good stuff. Good morning, West Virginia Pappy, omnipresent as usual. And then on the Rumble side, we got Truth Speak Dad. First, Hicktown Honey. Number 2, Andy Pearson. You are deterred. If we go to the question of the day, the poll question is, what is the main reason socialists can't be preppers? Right now, leading in first place with dependence on collective resources, 86%, centralized planning inefficiencies, 14%, and the other two are zeros, limited economic flexibility, and resistance to stockpiling. So this whole thing was brought on by a video that I showed up in a socialist's YouTube channel. His name is Carter. Spoke to him for about an hour and a half on Friday evening, late Friday evening, well after all the Golden Corrals that are left anyway, were closed, and Matt Locke came and went, and I missed the early bird special because I'm so old, but yeah, I beat him to that joke right off the bat. But anyway, very interesting guy. He was very conservative in his socialist views while speaking, but still very nice, very respectful young man. Learned a few things about socialist collective think. It was interesting and I've been thinking about it all weekend. I've actually taken and gotten that interview and chopped it up, because it's an hour and a half long, chopped it up into 5 pieces that are easily consumable by YouTube standards anyway. Anything over 15 minutes is pretty much brain dump on YouTube. Anyway, so chop that up so you guys can see it. It'll come out in a series that's going to be uploaded today. You can binge watch it, or you can actually, no, I'm probably going to push it out like one a day just so people don't get overloaded. But very interesting subjects, preparedness, and the gist of the beginning of the conversation was, and the reason why I was there was because I told him he needed somebody to talk to, a real prepper, instead of just these guys that make the big YouTube money on for lack of better words, fear porn, that kind of goes completely against the thoughts of a socialist. And I didn't even want to brand this the socialist because I don't care about his political ideology. I just care that he's a prepper. But I thought that it would get people's attention a little bit more. Maybe forgive me now for a little bit of thumbnail hype. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And oddly enough, the thumbnail for this video is the actual banner off of his Discord. So yeah, he told me he didn't believe in intellectual property, so I stole that shit. Anywho, hopefully that cuss word doesn't bump this video. Let's see here. Bradley is already where are we at here? Bradley Collins says socialism is great in theory, but unfortunately it destroys everything in reality. See, here's the thing. Here's what I learned about it before we get too deep into this. What I learned about socialism when talking to Carter was, and we didn't talk about socialism, guys. We talked about preparedness. That's what we really talked about. Mindsets, ideologies, things like that. We didn't talk about socialism. Which I think is the reason I'm making this video, because we didn't really talk about it. And that's cool because to me, it's kind of a boring subject because whenever it comes down to socialism, history has shown us over and over and over and over, just like Bradley said, socialism isn't great in theory, but unfortunately it destroys everything in reality. It's what I learned is that socialism for the young people is all about dreaming. They have this dream of this world where everybody is everybody's neighbor and we're all farming away, doing nothing. But, the only thing that we put any effort into is the greater good. So they kind of remind me of hippies, to be honest with you, but even a hippie knows that, hey, man, let's have a good time, man. Even hippies know that. Socialists don't seem to know that. Socialists only seem to think about the collective, which kind of reminds me of the Borg, if you really think about it. All right, let's see here. So you guys know the deal. As usual, I will read some stuff to you that I've written down from the Old Brain Housing Group and some of the stuff that I stole off the interwebs that make me look intelligent. And you guys will write stuff in the chat. And after I'm done talking about what I'm going to talk about, I'll talk about what you talked about in the chat. Okay, so we're going to drink some coffee because I can feel one coming on already. All right, so when we talk about socialism and why they can't be preppers, it's not that you're not allowed to be a prepper. That's our thing. That's not what this video is about. This video is about because of the things that they believe and the way that they feel, it grinds against their ideology to be a prepper. Because being a prepper means something a set of words that kept coming up over and over in the interview, the rugged individualist. That's kind of like that's the enemy of socialism, is the rugged individualist. So the first thing we're going to talk about is dependency on collective resources. Now, socialism emphasized the collective ownership of resources and the dependency on communal systems for support. Those words mean something simple. You own nothing. It's for everyone. In a prepping scenario, this reliance can become a significant disadvantage. Preppers prioritize self-sufficiency and personal resource management, while socialists may struggle with the individualistic approach required for effective prepping. The reliance on a shared resource in a socialist framework can hinder the ability to amass. Here it comes, right? I didn't even into the first paragraph. Oh my God. Which is really funny because I didn't yawn the entire time on his stream. So let's try that again. The reliance on shared resources in a socialist framework can hinder the ability to amass and control personal supplies necessary for survival in a crisis. That's a huge line that I just read there, guys. I'm going to read it again for you. The reliance on shared resources in a socialist framework can hinder the ability to amass and control personal supplies necessary for survival in a crisis. In that statement, basically says if one starves, we all starve. Yeah, that's not smart. Going to the chat real quick here. Actually, you know what? Because it's broken down, I have this broken down into major sections. So the next one we'll talk about, and make sure you guys comment on this stuff. Centralized planning and bureaucracy. This is synonymous, and unfortunately, it's leached into the American government system so badly that people now are just sick of it. Socialist systems often involve centralized planning and extensive bureaucracy. This centralization can lead to the inefficiencies and slow responses during emergencies. Prepping requires a quick decision making. Prepping requires quick decision making, adaptability, and the ability to operate independently without waiting for directives from a central authority. The bureaucratic nature of socialism can delay crucial actions, leaving individuals ill prepared in the face of sudden disasters. Guys, this is like this paragraph is kind of like the Captain Kirk moment, and I am not a Trekkie, but yeah, I've watched it a few times. The Captain Kirk moment, where it's like if someone isn't in charge, who's competent, who knows what they're doing, who is skilled to make decisions, where other people will sit around and say, let's form a steering committee. That's the difference. That's the real difference. And those things slow everything down, which is kind of funny because when talking to these people, they want things their way quick, fast, and in a hurry. They want things their way yesterday. But it's funny because if it's not about the collective or the word that we could agree on was community, but I think it meant more just something different to him than it did to me. But it was the bureaucratic nature of socialism is just it's dangerous for society in general because it just keeps it automatically puts people in a down position when they should have their heads up looking around. Let's see here. Also, resource allocation issues. In a socialist setup, resources are typically allocated based on collective needs rather than individual preparedness. This can result in uneven distribution and shortages of critical supplies for preppers. Oh boy, time to drink. Oh, glug, 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 glug. What do we got here? This can result in uneven distribution and shortages for critical supplies for preppers. Effective prepping involves anticipating specific personal and family needs, which is difficult in a system that prioritizes equitable distribution over individual stockpiling. Survivalists may find it challenging to acquire and maintain a sufficient personal cache of supplies due to these systemic limitations. So basically, they want everybody to put everything in one pile. And once again, when we all starve, we all starve. I get it. I really get it. Put something in the chat on that one, guys, because that one's kind of important. I get it. I get the mentality. I get the thought process. But here's the thing. This requires a leap of faith. Okay. A belief that the system that they've designed is going to guarantee survivability or guarantee survival, and it does not. Inherently, by its own design, does not. If we look at resources, I think the one that stands out the most, because I'm not a historian, I just read stuff. The one that stands out to me the most was the great I can't remember the name of it. It was a major change where the Chinese government decided that, and this was like pre-black and white era, but the Chinese government decided that they were going to take all the farmers, because the farmers were making money. Okay, the farmers were growing food, selling their crops, and making money. So they decided to take, it was in the best interest of the collective to take the farms away from the farmers. And then they sent most of the farmers to some kind of labor camp, or they just killed them off immediately. And then they put bureaucrats in charge of the farms who had no idea how to farm. They didn't know the first thing about it. They just knew that they were in charge. This resulted in the death of probably about 5 million Chinese. And it's funny too, because socialism in general is responsible for, there's something called the Black Book of Socialism. And they're responsible. It's either socialism or communism. I can't remember. I want to say it's socialism, because if you don't know that socialism is the outcropping of the original communist manifesto, the original communist theory, all the ideas that if you take the title of the book and you call it communism, and then you list all the ideas of it, all the ideas are socialist ideas. So when you think of socialism, it is not essentially the same as communism, and socialists will argue this all day long. Okay. But the reality is if you put them side by side, one just has a label, the other doesn't. So, but yeah, if you look at that book, they're estimating between 80 and 90 million people globally have been died, killed, wasted away, starved to death, for lack of resources. By the socialist mindset, by the decisions that socialists have made. There are socialist countries that have that are thriving, but here's the thing: it's funny because it's with socialism, it's all about labor, and we're going too deep. We're going too deep because we just want to talk about why socialists can't be good preppers. So I'm going to go to the chat now, guys. Let me roll this up here so I'm ready to go when we start. I'm going to roll this up here. We're going to look at some of the stuff, people. Let's see here. Everybody wants to be a socialist until it's time to do socialist stuff. Yeah, that's true, Chuck. Who's going to get out and change the tire if a tire can be found? That's true. Oops. The driver happens to me many times. I got you, bro. Rose says, wait, hold on a second. I was going to read that. Be like my dad in World War II. Take tires off dead trucks so you can keep moving. Got him a Bronze Star. I got you. Tuck says, it's always socialism first, everything second, which is how you get I don't know how to say that word. Holodomor. I don't know what that is. Sounds familiar. Special K. Preston says, I don't want to bust my ass working for the lazy ass people. Oh, wait a minute. Feels like I'm already doing that in America. Tuck says the laziest people are the bureaucrats. Very true. Miko, I don't recognize you. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Took all of the farms away from the farmers in Africa, and they're trying to do the same thing in the United States. Taking a farm away from the farmers in England. Yes. Beecher, good morning. Good morning. Bradley, what's Bradley got to say here? It's a great idea of if no one starves or falls behind, but unfortunately, the people of authority will normally put themselves above others. Weak leaders are detrimental to the whole system. Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. Most of the people that are leaders within socialist systems are weak, because they have this. They believe they're true believers, or they're frauds. That's a scary thought right there. That are looking to manipulate a system. Okay, but they're, for the most part, they're true believers. They want to believe that they can make the world a better place. What little action they do take is supposedly to make the world a better place. And unfortunately, most of the time, it just means that they need resources to try and make this happen, which means, jet planes and black sedans and security systems, and people working for them that they never have to pay. So, it's an interesting idea how that all happens at the, there is, whether socialists like it or not, there is a hierarchy within the socialist system that they kind of ignore. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and turn that off there. Matter of fact, you guys didn't say nothing about the banners. I got to get rid of that banner. Boop, got to go. All right, let's see here. We're going to go back to the comments, and let me look at the Rumble comments because there's some over here. Hickdown Honey says that, Hickdown Honey says, I'm a hippie, not a socialist. I got you. My girlfriend's a hippie. It's okay. Hicktown also says, with a mindset of collective good, he must spend the majority of his time volunteering and donating money, ? Honestly, I don't know. We did get into a conversation about, one of the things about Carter is that he appears to be a full-time streamer. Okay. He literally will get on Twitch and stream for like 8 hours straight. So that tells me that if he does have another job someplace, I mean, I don't know. He could work at the local quickie mart. I don't know. And here's the funny thing too. He's in Australia. How he got there, why he's there, I don't know. But he is he's streaming to the people in America, but he's doing it in the middle of the night because obviously of the time difference. It's either 12 or 13 hours difference. Maybe even 14. I think Australia actually has like 3 or 4 time zones, believe it or not. It's a continent. It's I see what he's doing. He's, for the most part, he's a full-time streamer. He's got subscribers. He has a sponsor, at least one sponsor that I know of, a watch company. The way he's doing, the way he does it, it's like he's pretending he's not hurting anybody, and he's not. In the same way that, Amazon links, which he complained about, he did have a valid point, and we're going to get off this because we need to move on. But he did have a valid point that there are YouTubers out there that say, the end of the world is in 49 days, and if you're all going to die unless you have this one thing I can sell you. And he kind of latched on to that. And I don't really see a lot of YouTubers doing that anymore. That's more of the, George Jones, Bible stuff, selling buckets. And he referenced that, and rightfully so. But I don't really think that applies to today's world because I don't see preppers. I don't see preppers on YouTube doing that. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen, well, actually, no, I've seen Canadian Prepper do it, but he does it very, like in your face, kind of almost overtly, where he'll talk about the World War III update, and I trashed Canadian Prepper on the interview too. You guys will see it on one of the sections of the YouTube side, but I basically said he needs to be taken out and beaten with a stick because it's every video he makes is the World War III update. It's the end of the world. He has sources, and it's like it's a joke. But he's just driving people very overtly to his not Amazon, but his actual business, and I could tell that Carter hadn't done all of his research because it's like he's drop shipping stuff. It's like you go to his website, but it actually sends you to Amazon. No, that's not what it actually does. He actually has a giant freaking warehouse in Saskatchewan, freaking Canada. He actually does buy. He has suppliers. So it's a business. It's the largest preparedness business in Canada, and it's that way for a reason. So, but the world's going to end. Oh, by the way, I saw something small. Oh, it's going down, guys. The freaking what is it? Putin's going to address his country tonight. And that was yesterday. So I haven't heard anything about it on the news this morning. It must have been like, hey guys, great job. Go back to war. Whatever. I don't know. But no one but Canadian Prepper is saying, oh, by the way, you probably need this nuclear radioactive, detection kit. I sell them at my store. He's the only one that even comes close to it. So, all right. What do we got here? Clickbait. Cool Colt says, providing links for items is helping people through, and if you have done the work, you should get a piece. Yeah, I'm tracking with you. Listen, man, I've been very straight up front with people. I have certain products that I like. You can go to my website, localprepper.net, and and buy products that I believe in. There are products that I own myself. A Refuge Medical. I held it up. I hold it up backwards, guys. But the Slick Kit. It's the real deal. This is the real deal, guys. This is solid. This is this is something that I would put in my girlfriend's drawer. She works someplace that people walk in and out all the time, and they're not happy with the answers that they get. And someone might end up with a new freaking orifice in their chest. You know what I'm saying? And they would be able to maybe try and save that person. So these products are real. These products are real. If I make 15 cents every time you spend $1,000, then so be it. It's we're human beings. We have a finite amount of time on this planet. And, it's like with the memberships, it's with the YouTube memberships. If I'm going to spend freaking hours, like yesterday, I spent 7 hours cutting that video up, making shorts. I'm saying I don't get that time back, but I think it was important for you guys so you could see what was happening. There's a lot of work, and that means that if I get $4.99 from you per month, then hey, maybe it's worth my time. At some point, if it doesn't become part of worth my time, because the work has really changed, and we really need to get off this. But the work has really changed over the 3 years that I've been doing this, where it used to be me just turning the camera on and talking, blah blah blah, and whatever, and then it was, this is starting more work was involved. To give you more costs more time for me. So yeah, give me your $4.99 a month and enjoy the content. All right, let's see here. Bradley posted something here. Fear porn is real, but it has nothing to do with why I try to prepare for something situations. Look at Frosty. He got flooded twice and made it through successfully in my book. Yes, absolutely. He knew it was coming. He knew he lived right next to a damn bog, so he prepared for it, Cool Colt says, or find the stuff yourself. It's your money. Spend it how you see fit. Yes. Be freaking adults. That's what I'm saying. Stray Kid, I don't recognize you. Welcome to the stream. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you don't want to get a Refuge kit, please call 988 to talk to someone about why you don't want to stay alive. That's very well put. Very well put. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got there's a lot of stuff in the chat on the Rumble side, but we need to get back on point. We're at 9:25 and we've only got through one segment so far, guys. So the next thing is incompatibility. I would need to drink some coffee. Guys, do me a favor, wake that algorithm up and type a 1 in the chat if you love America. I shall read, you shall respond. Incompatibility and individual preparedness. Collective versus individual mindset. Ooh, the collective. The Borg. Socialism promotes a collective mindset where the well-being of the group is prioritized over individual pursuits. Prepping, on the other hand, requires a focus on individual and family preparedness. This fundamental difference in mindset can lead to conflicts and challenges for socialists attempting to engage in prepping activities. The emphasis on collective welfare can undermine the motivation to prepare on a personal level, leaving individuals less equipped for emergencies. Okay, so I mean that's pretty straightforward. Shared resources and community reliance. Socialists often advocate for shared resources and community support systems. While these principles can be beneficial in certain contexts, they are not always conducive to effective prepping. In survival situations, the availability of shared resources may be unpredictable, and reliance on community support can be risky. Preppers aim to minimize dependency on external factors, whereas socialists may struggle to detach from the community-based approach ingrained in their ideology. So it literally goes against their grain. Now, resistance to stockpiling, which was actually something that's inside the chat, inside the poll, which we'll cover here in a second. The socialist emphasis on equitable distribution can create a cultural resistance in stockpiling, as it may be perceived as hoarding or taking more than one's fair share. Prepping necessities. Prepping necessitates the accumulation of supplies and resources to ensure survival during emergencies. This practice can be at odds with socialist values, leading to internal conflicts and social disapproval. Social disapproval, the mob. Socialists may face moral and ethical dilemmas when attempting to build personal reserves, which can hinder their preparedness efforts. All right, we're going to go and check that poll right now. And currently the poll is still, the question in the poll is, what is the main reason socialists can't be preppers? And the current winner is dependence on collective resources. The following at 74%, centralized planning efficiencies at 16%, resistance to stockpiling at 11%, and limited economic flexibility at 0%. So we're still stuck on that dependence on collective resources. Going to the Rumble chat. Hey, woo! Hicktown Honey says, depends on the disaster. Tornadoes everywhere, no affected. No affected goes to help clean up. Not affected goes to clean up. Mass flood that affects everyone. No one is coming because everyone has their own emergencies. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Hicktown Honey says today is a Jewish holiday. May see some excitement over there today from Iran. Yes, they've already projected that this is going to be the day that Iran decides to do something. We moved, basically a carrier battle group up inside the Med, probably, and somewhere between the Med and the Persian Gulf. It's out there floating around. Just waiting for some stuff to go down, kind of watching for the pings. Let's see here. Okay, I think we're good on the chat. You guys didn't really put anything in the chat. We got a lot of ones. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm looking for three because I'm rebellious. You said that last time that you don't recognize me. I'm sorry, Stray Kitten. I just there's at a certain point, there's only so many people that I can remember. Comment more, please. Hint, hint, and let's have a conversation. But no, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're here. Let's see. Current score is 33-25. YouTube is in the lead. It's the dude is in here today. Oh, the dude's in here. Where's he at, man? The dude. I'm sorry. You probably said, is the dude in here? Let's see here. I don't see him, man. I'm scrolling. I'm looking for it. I don't see the dude anywhere. Stray Kitten. Let's see here. Cool Colt says, I'm down with the MAG concept. It is truly hard to rely on what a person will do when faced with the ultimate decision for me. Yeah, absolutely true. And, Carter and me had a conversation about this. And, I kind of put him in a precarious situation. And, basically the guy shows up on your doorstep. What happened? I explained the situation, the scenario, and he did kind of freaking fall back on his socialist values and say, what if we just try and help this guy? And then hopefully the 9 other people in my neighborhood will take care of it. Then it's like, well, what about now? What happens when he comes back? And he kind of danced around that, but he was still straightforward, and he realized that he would probably have to do something, if that were to happen. Let's see here. What do we got here? Miko says flooding that's happening in New York right now. The community works together to help each other. Who couldn't rely on the government of the state. Exactly. Our government is pretty much useless, guys. Our state does unbelievable things. I know somebody who works in the county government, and some of the things that they're completely happy, but with their jobs and their salaries and whatever and their benefits, but some of the things that they're told to do are just absolutely ridiculous. So Rose says, to me, putting up food to make it over the winter or other issues is not hoarding. Be an excuse, scout and be prepared. Yeah, well, that term hoarding, it's not really used very much anymore. Hoarders are just people that collect things impulsively. That's not what preppers do. Okay, so getting back on point here, next thing we're going to talk about is economic and supply chain challenges. Economic constraints. Socialism often involves stringent economic controls and regulations. Once again, we're in that red tape bureaucratic bull that socialism creates, which can impact individuals' ability to acquire and store necessary prepping supplies. Limited access to private property and restrictions on personal wealth accumulation can hinder the financial flexibility required for effective prepping. Socialists may find it challenging to invest in long-term survival gear, food stocks, and other essential items due to these economic constraints. Supply chain vulnerabilities. Socialist economies can experience inefficiencies and disruptions in supply chains due to centralized control and planning. Their vulnerabilities can result in shortages of critical goods, making it difficult for preppers to secure reliable access to essential supplies. Prepping relies on a steady and diverse supply chain to maintain adequate stockpiles, but socialist systems may struggle to provide this stability, leaving individuals ill prepared for emergencies. Barter and trade limitations. In a socialist framework, the emphasis on collective ownership and regulated markets can limit opportunities for barter and trade, which are crucial components for prepping. Preppers often rely on the ability to trade goods and services to enhance their preparedness. Socialists may face challenges in engaging in such activities due to regulatory restrictions and the cultural emphasis on communal rather than individual transactions. This limitation can impede their ability to adapt and thrive in a prepping scenario. So what we just basically talked about, guys, where, it all comes down to economic supply chain challenges. When we spoke, it was, I asked him, so what happens when the Walmart trucks stop coming? And we were very clear and agreed that it actually did happen during that thing that we cannot talk about. His response was, in a perfect world, and this is not a hit on Carter. Carter, if you're watching this, that's not what this is. I'm simply regurgitating what we spoke about. In a perfect world, we would, it would all be part of a community-based system, and that, everything, the people who work there were the people who actually were part of that community, and everything was very kumbaya. But the problem is that that's not going to happen. That's not the way the real world is. That's not the way it works in America. That's not the way it works in 99.9% of the countries in the world. Someone owns those things. It's that easy. So when the food trucks stop for whatever reason, then 3 days. That's how much food they have. Okay, let's see here. Miko Wolf says military surplus, the best camping and survival gear that you can get on the planet. A little bit on the heavy side, it's worth their weight in gold. Yeah, I do agree that a lot of military gear is very good. But Natuk says mag voluntarism applied by spirit of cooperation and mutual respect versus socialist authoritarianism applied by force, easy choice. Yes, correct. Stray Kitten says, I think they frown on prepping because preppers are dangerous because they're not so dependent on the government will. Yes, we are outliers. We are rugged individualists is the term that they use. Oops says, I'm a hoarder. Just ask my wife. Big Prepper. Good to see you, bro. You can be a prepper and a hoarder. I still buy ammunition even though I don't need any more. But that's just it. That's not a psychological disorder. But, hoarders have a psychological disorder. People who call preppers hoarders are the same people that don't understand what hoarders really are. Oops says, all military surplus shops in my area got attacked and shut down. I believe it. Andy says, on Rumble says, remember, all socialists are equal. Some are more equal than others. I love it, man. That's freaking awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check the poll real quick, and it doesn't look like it's moved. We've got 19 voice votes, and right now it still looks like dependence on collective measures is the preferred answer at 74%. Okay, let's go ahead and move on here to the next thing. And the next thing, it was kind of hard to sit down and wrap my head around, but then once I started doing a little bit of scribbling and thinking, it's actually kind of smart and And I think you guys are going to like this because most of the people who are socialists are the young people. Hold on. Catitude just said something right there, and she's a member. So, yeah, you can be socialist till you see your kids crying when they are hungry. No one will care when the hungry, no one will care when they're hungry. To sow community mentality is not really when you think you're depending on others. Yeah, the bottom line is that it's you can scream socialism, community, the greater good, the collective all day long until your kids start to starve, and you're in this group of people who are starving with you. But the only person you care about are those little young things that you brought into the world, especially if you're mothers. It's funny too, because we had a situation here on the Eastern Shore about a year ago where a woman was driving her car, and her child was in the back seat in one of the kiddie seats, and the kid has a history of breathing disorders, and so she noticed that the kid had stopped breathing, so she reached back to give the kid a little jostle to kind of like, hey, breathe, and the kid started to breathe, and right about that time she felt her car strike something, and that something was I believe either another woman or a woman and her child, or possibly just a child that was riding a bicycle in the street. Yeah, yeah, guys. When they interviewed this woman, when they interviewed the woman, no, it was the child that was killed. When they interviewed the woman of the child that was killed, she was crazy, absolutely crazy. And to me, that's a completely natural response because I tell you what, man, I tell you what, people can be docile as hell, but you get between the health of a woman's child and the woman and the mother. I expect tigress. I expect bear. I expect you are all going to I'm just going to rip you all to pieces, you know? And so imagine that in a socialist environment where you're watching your children, starve, where you're giving them what food you might have and you're starving. And that's one of the reasons socialism just doesn't work. So in a happy joy system, everybody's belly is full of snake and or snake full of steak and vegan tofu. But in the real world, it does not work. And go ahead, socialists watching this. Do me a favor, tell me all about Iceland, and I'll tell you about how they still live in a village mentality that if their key export is I think Iceland is what is it? Aluminum. So they get to work in the mines. I mean, they make almost nothing. They consume everything. What happens when the world shut down and there's little socialist utopia goes because they're isolated from the rest of the world. Until then, it's a great place to visit, except for the volcanoes. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and turn that off, and we're going to get back on point. So the next subject is technological and innovation barriers. There's a limited incentive for innovation in a socialist society. Socialism often focuses on equitable distribution rather than incentivizing individual innovation and technological advancement. This can result in slower development of new technologies and the methods that are crucial for effective prepping. Preppers benefit from access to the latest advancements in survival gear, communications tools, and self-sufficiency techniques. Socialists may find themselves at a disadvantage due to a lack of incentives for innovation within their economic and social restrictions. Also, restricted access to advanced technology. In the socialist system, access to advanced technology may be limited due to central control and prioritization of collective needs. Preppers require a wide range of technologies, from renewable energy sources to advanced medical equipment to enhance their survival capabilities. The restricted access to such technologies in a socialist society can hinder preppers' ability to fully equip themselves for emergencies, reducing their chances of successful survival. And then there's technological dependence on the state. Socialism often involves a reliance on state-provided technological infrastructure. Ask China. Facial recognition everywhere, a camera on every corner. In a prepping scenario, the dependence can be problematic if the state infrastructure fails or becomes inaccessible. Preppers aim to be self-reliant and independent of state systems, but socialists may struggle to detach from the state-dependent technology framework. This reliance can create vulnerabilities and reduce the effectiveness of their preparedness efforts. Yeah. Let's see here. Big Prepper says, I still have all my clothes I've ever bought in trash bags because I use them for rags and cordage. You are a hoarder. No, yeah, I'm tracking with you, man. I've cut up blue jeans for rags before. It's not a big deal. Miko says, non-resident New York, you can get a concealed carry permit from New York if you want to carry, thanks to good old God bless America. So you can get a concealed carry, a non-resident concealed carry in for New York. That's interesting. Let's see. Oops says, my Grams had everyone give her old clothes of any kind, lots of his cut off jeans and shorts when knees blew out, and she made jean quilts for everyone. Yeah, my grandma used to do the same thing. As soon as I started reading that, oops, I was like, that's what my grandma did. She got all the clothes and she would make quilts. And I still have one someplace. I mean, they pretty much, you take care of them, they last pretty much forever, you know. Let's see here. West Virginia Pappy says, in Rumble, when self-preservation kicks in, there will be no socialism. Very, very true. Very, very, very true. Okay, current score is 33-20. Looks like YouTube is beating Rumble's booty today. Looks like we had a change in votes. We're up to 20 now, but still dependence on collective resources sets at 70%. And we did have a slight change here. Next is centralized planning inefficiencies at 15% of the vote. And then we've got resistance to stockpiling at 10% and limited economic flexibility at 5%. So we are adjusting. I think it's always interesting how I watch the polls, where I watch the poll that I made and watch it change based off of as I start to go through all the factors. It doesn't mean that I'm changing your mentality, your ideology, the way you're thinking, but it's just interesting to see the change for me, because that means that you guys are engaged, which I like. All right, so now one of the bigger ones, psychological and cultural factors. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and Light Raider says, now we know where most of the 90% will come from. I got you, bro. I got you. Okay, so we got to drink coffee. Got to drink coffee, guys. Oh, and Pat and Cool Colt's got a cup just like this now. That's right. Good things come in small packages. If you guys don't know this, whenever I do the monthly drawings for the memberships, when I basically maybe I'll give this $100 slick kit away. You know what I'm saying? What'll happen is like, I really like the products. So what I'll do is I'll actually like buy another one through Amazon, through a company, whatever it may be, and I'll have it shipped directly to your house. But what I'll also do is I'll actually like write like you a little note and put it in the mail with a sticker, with one of these stickers, just so you guys can be part of the cult of preparedness. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the next one, which is psychological and cultural factors. Collective resilience. No. Am I reading that? Yeah, collective resilience versus individual resilience. Socialism emphasizes collective resilience and community support in time of crisis. While this can be beneficial for societal cohesion, it may not align with the individual resilience required for effective prepping. Preppers focus on personal skills, knowledge, and self-sufficiency to navigate emergencies. Socialists may find it challenging to develop the individual resilience needed for prepping, as their cultural framework prioritizes collective over individual strength. And then there's cultural attitudes towards self-sufficiency. And this is attitudes that means feelings, not facts. In socialist societies, cultural attitudes often emphasize shared responsibility and mutual aid, which can contrast with the self-sufficiency mindset of preppers. This cultural difference can lead to social stigmatization of prepping activities, making it harder for socialists to engage in and prioritize personal preparedness. The cultural dissonance, and here's the thing. I always thought it was funny because the first part of the word cultural is cult. The cultural, we're all in a cult, guys. We're all going to drink the Kool-Aid. The cultural dissonance between collective support and individual self-reliance can create psychological barriers for socialists attempting to adopt prepping techniques. So literally that statement says that it's because of your culture, it can be uh, it can be a barrier to becoming a prepper because of your socialist ideologies. And then there's the psychological adaptation to scarcity. This one's deep. This one's deep. Prepping matter of fact, I got to do it. Prepping requires a psychological adaptation to scarcity and the potential for resource shortages. Socialists, accustomed to systems aimed at equitable distribution and resource sharing, may struggle with the mindset shift needed for effective prepping. The psychological readiness to deal with scarcity and uncertainty is crucial for preppers, and socialists may face difficulties in developing the preparedness mindset due to their ingrained cultural and ideological perspectives. Wow. So basically, they may be so brainwashed. And the worst part about this whole socialism thought is most of the time they did it themselves. They brainwashed themselves. They read enough books with red covers, you know, the ideas, the idea fairy, the good idea fairy is alive and well in the socialist community. That is for sure. But it doesn't work in the preparedness community because we're not preparing for everything to be we're not preparing for Disneyland. We're not preparing for, the good idea fairy to sprinkle a little bit of the good eye fairy, fairy dust on things and make it all perfect. We're preparing for things to be awful because we don't want them to be, but we know that it's going to happen. And if it does, or when it does, whichever thought process you have, you want to be able to sit back and go, I won't have anything to do with that. And that was one of the points that I brought up to Carter was, preppers aren't like the end of the world. Very few of them are all about the apocalypse and what is it, road warrior scenarios, and very few people are like that, or preppers, should I say. Most of them are, hey, there's some stuff going down in the world. The trucks just stopped rolling at Walmart. Johnny's on his way home. Tommy's in the army and he's on a plane heading someplace we don't know. And we just want to be able to sit back and say, we're not part of any of that. We're just going to wait this thing out. Their argument is that, instead of preparing, you should have been working towards a solution. And then my response is, what have you been doing? Sitting in your basement, talking on Twitch. You're not really doing anything. You think you are, but you're not. You think you're pushing, but you're not. You're just logging in. You're just firing up your camera on the interwebs and talking about things. You're really doing nothing. So, okay, let's see here. Going to look at the chat real quick here. We got a few minutes left here. Miko says, before you join a socialist club, read the book 1984 or watch the movie. You'll never join another social club in your whole freaking lifetime. You'll be an independent and free. Yes, absolutely true. I think that's the valid statement. We can use centralized planning deficiencies in every state as the bureaucrats attempt micromanagement from great distances. What I'm discovering based off of what I know about my friend has told me from that works for the county is that this all comes down to, it's like they're the board of supervisors, right? And they decide, they like put it to a vote. They supposedly like what I'm seeing is that there are, and it's not speaking nefariously, like it's going to benefit them in some way, but they make decisions based off of their ideology, and then they put them up for a vote. But before they do that, they're required by law to submit them to the public for review and comment, right? And then some, if they have a vote in a closed session, then that's a problem, and that is starting to happen. Okay, I've seen that happen a few times. They just don't want to hear what people have to say. I've seen that happen to a county in this region, and it blew up in their face. I've actually seen a situation where instead of what they did was, instead of posting it to their county, there was another county that was on the other side of the state that sounded very similar, had very similar words in it. It was so weird. Like, so if your county, if this county was called North Umberton, but you accidentally posted the what they had to be reviewed in Umberton North, which happened to be on the other side of the state. Oopsie, sorry. Nobody had any review on it whatsoever. There was no comment on it whatsoever, and they decided to pass it, and they voted on it, and I believe it was 5-0. So these 5 people, okay, made this decision, whatever it was. I'm not even going to say what it is, and that's going to affect the community. All right. And God, what if it, like, oh, by the way, it was a new tax on something. It was a new tax on shoestrings or something. You know what I'm saying? They made this decision, this unilateral decision, that their brains, they were omnipotent in nature. We just decided, and we're starting to see more of that. And that's where, I'm really glad to see you have the county up in Northern Virginia that is just tearing their school board apart, because these people are damaging children. They're damaging children, Let's see here. Looking at the chat here. Grumpy's in the chat. At the base of it, mags are very communal in nature. They won't work unless they respect individual sovereignty, though. Yes, exactly. And if you guys don't know this, Grumpy has he's actually got some videos online that talk about mags and how if there's a book, and I've actually got it on it's on my bedside table. I've read about half of it, and it's like, some of this doesn't make any sense, but there's the guidebook for mags. Hey, Grumpy, what's the name of that book that the guy wrote that you read and you're like, let's try this, but then it didn't work, and you and your buds just got together and made your own mag and made it work your way? Do me a favor, put the name of that book in the chat for us. I appreciate it, because I can't remember the name of the title of it, but basically, it doesn't work. But Grumpy's absolutely right. If they don't work unless they respect individual sovereignty. Once they start to say, we need to pool all of this and we need to pool all of that, then it's not really a mag anymore. It's just a socialist network. Spags is in the house. Good to see you, Spags. I need a vet who thinks that they may lean socialist should just look at the VA. VA healthcare is literally single payer healthcare program. Actually, there you go. Let's see here. Chair Bear, good to see you. 1 sec, please. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I would get up and get the book myself, but I'm in the middle of something right now. Miko says that's how 1776 started. Taxation without representation. People got stand again and hold these truths. We are the people. Yeah, and here's the thing. There's a meme out there that makes a lot of sense. I don't talk about it very often because it always leads us into weird places. But we started a revolution over a 2% tax on a beverage, but everything that we do in America is taxed. Everything is taxed. Everything has a freaking tax on it. They tax the taxes. I think that Captain Red Tie has got the greatest idea I've heard in a long time, is to stop taxing Social Security. How do we get to the point where they're taxing Social Security? You know what I'm saying? They tax you in the whole buildup to the Social Security, and when you say, "Okay, I played your game, let's start giving me my money," we're going to tax you on that. That's income now. No, it's not. It's like I don't know, for lack of better, it's like drink and throw up. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Ew. Nobody wants to do that. Let's see. Grumpy is typing group to go fast training, fast tracking your group to success by Charlie Hogwood. Is that the one? Yes. I think that's it. That name Charlie Hogwood, it seems familiar. But it's an interesting read. But you got to really be into, like, I really want to make a mag, but you could read the book, be totally jazzed, and nobody in your cul-de-sac wants anything to do with it. So then you're back to square one. Chupacabra's here. What's up, bro? Because storing any excess food or equipment means you have capital and you are a capitalist. Yeah, but you know what a socialist will say? They'll say they won't say socialism. What they say is there's no capitalism without labor. And that's a statement from back in the day when before we had labor unions, and there is, and a capitalist won't say labor, they'll say workforce. It's all verbiage. It's all this, just people talking about junk. Good morning, sunshine. There we go. Where we got? Let's see here. Same to you, cupcake. You guys are hilarious. You're all freaking hilarious. All right, let's see here. I'm not seeing anything substantial in the chat. Let's go ahead and take a look at the poll. We're going to go ahead and close the poll out, and let's see, what is the main reason people think that socialism can't be for preppers, or what is the main reason socialists can't be preppers? And number one was dependence on collective resources. And in my opinion, that is absolutely the correct answer, with 67% and 24 votes. All the other things are just add-ons. They're basically sprinkles on top of the of the socialist cupcake. They can't be because they're too dependent on collective resources, and their belief system and values forces them to think about the collective instead of the individual. But here's the thing, there's no argument that a group of strong individuals can come together, but don't have to give all their shit away. All right, guys, the last thing I want to talk about here today, there's actually a link. We need your help. We need your help. We're asking for your help. I'm going to go ahead and push this button over here. I may bring this screen up. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and we're going to screen share. I'm going to throw this up here, Rogue. Oh, woo! All right. And we're going to hit the share button, and there we go. Okay, guys, this is you guys are going to hear this more and more over the week, but I wanted to hit you up on the live screen. Guys, this is the Amazon page for prep stock. Now, we were doing the money. We've got prep stock is going, so don't worry, okay? But we're asking for help. We're asking for help with some of the things that are going to make prep stock even better. We are in the red right now. We're not too deep in the red, and we kind of knew this might happen. But we're not freaking out about it. Okay. So what we're asking you to do is, there's a link in the description of all these videos that basically help prep stock. And what we're asking you to do is to buy some stuff for us. We want to buy some coffee. We want to get a first aid kit. And this is all stuff that we're going to need for the event itself. That's all it's going toward. What do we got? We got some condiment packets. Oh, guys, whoever buys the original super donuts is going to be a godsend. If you guys don't know what a super donut is, they used to feed them to us when we were in middle school and elementary school, and they've kind of gone away. Unbelievable. You guys might actually want to look into them for your short-term preps. Where we got here, got a little bit of a flagpole for prep stock. We got ourselves a little light. Where we got here, a mat, guys. This folding mat is we're going to have, if you guys didn't know this, guys, B-Man J is also like a kung fu master, and we're going to be talking about some defensive techniques that he's going to teach us there. And Jess has volunteered to be the dummy. He's the kung fu crash test dummy, and he's going to be getting thrown around like pretty for real. So we're looking to buy a couple of these mats. I think we need 4 of them. And if you guys can help out, that would be great. Also, it's a private event. We're going to close out, so we're looking for that sign. We're going to need some sugar packets. We're going to need some carafes for the coffee, some coffee cups. And that's what we're asking for. I've already bought a large ticket item off of this myself, the books. I want to make sure that people have like note-taking material. And that's one of the biggest things people come to, and they forget about it, So part of our show, hey, you made it. Here you go. You bought your tickets. You made it. Here's your notebook. It's like this fancy notebook with a pen on it. And some affirmational stuff is on the inside of it too. But if you guys can hit that website, look around, see what you can help us with, that would be great. There's like a number for needing things. We can't ask you to buy all 4 of the mats, things like that. But once again, you're adults, spend your money how you want to. If you guys don't buy it, we're going to buy it anyway. But we really would like to stay out of the red. I think right now we're probably, honestly, I don't know how bad it is. But the event is going, and people are going to have a good time. And we're going to have a good time regardless. So we're invested. All right, guys. I think that's going to be about it. We're going to take that off right there. Boom. Let's see here. And Bradley, if you're expecting your neighbor to help you, what happens when they expect the same? If everyone is in your neighborhood relies on everyone else for what? That's the problem with socialism. Exactly. Johnny doesn't want to get off the couch. You were there when Johnny needed help, and now Johnny doesn't want to get off the couch. That's socialism. Okay, guys, that is going to be it for today. Looks like the ending score. Where are we at here? Where are we at here? Where's it at? The ending score is 32-21. YouTube is the winner for today. I want to thank you guys all for showing up. Bradley, you have a great day as well, my friend. If you guys have not become a YouTube member yet, do me a favor. There's a join link down below. Go find it. Like, if you're on your phone, you got to like scroll down, subscribe, something. There's a 4-step process on the phone. It's so stupid instead of just hitting a button. But anywho, also make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. Appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed, do me a favor, do that now. All right, guys, as usual, stay safe. Have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you, which will be tomorrow in the next video. Bye-bye.